Roundabouts are a type of intersection control, and often we use them instead of signals these days because of their superior safety record. And what they do is they turn a regular intersection into an intersection where there's only right turns. So you turn right in, you go around, you turn right out. So there's a round middle island in the roundabout, and everyone goes around it. They carry a lot of traffic. They're pretty, unlike signals with all the clutter. Most importantly, probably nowadays, is that they accommodate pedestrians well. You know, everyone's focused on pedestrians and pedestrian safety, particularly in cities and neighborhoods. So if we can change out signals, which tend to kill a lot of pedestrians around the country, roundabouts are a lot safer. So you cross to a splitter island, and then you cross the other half of the street. Traffic only comes at you from one side. So for kids, it's a lot easier to cross. So now we're using them near signals, we're using them on shopping streets, but they're not the fix for every signal. You know, there's some signals that you need signals at. When traffic gets really, really busy, the roundabouts won't handle it anymore. So there's sort of a range that roundabouts work really well in. And then beyond that range, you got to go back to signals. Other times, the buildings might be too close or something like that, and you can't fit the roundabout in. Then you have to go back to signals. But there's a tremendous amount of intersections out there that would benefit from using roundabouts. It's probably the most underutilized traffic control method in the whole country. And today, there's a few thousand of them around the country. In probably 10 or 20 years, there'll be a couple 100,000. That's how underutilized it is right now. I would guess that it wasn't part of our design vocabulary when a lot of our rules were passed, and so a lot of the transportation community was just not familiar with them. So there was probably just sort of natural resistance to putting them in because we just didn't know about them very much. And a few pioneers came into the country, 10, 15 years ago, and started building them, and the results have been just fantastic with safety results and car carrying capacity results and slowing down speeders and all this sort of thing, to the point now that some DOTs require their engineers to look at roundabouts first and then consider signals because of the superior safety record. So we're catching up, but there was a time there when people resisted them just because they didn't know about them. I think probably the biggest misperception about roundabouts is that they don't handle pedestrians very well. And they handle pedestrians quite well. Another misperception is they don't create gaps for drivers to get out of driveways and this sort of thing, and roundabouts result in plenty of gaps. And there's a misperception about being able to plow snow around them, and they're used heavily in places like Vail, Colorado, which get more snow than here. So there's all of these myths surrounding them, and I think it comes because people are unfamiliar with them, think about, okay, what could the problems be, and then they make up the story, and it creates a myth. And they've been used in snowy countries like Norway and Switzerland, and in places like Vail here, quite successfully. Like all intersections designs, you got to look at a whole variety of options and test them out with the community, with the businesses, maybe model them with the traffic volumes, and see which one's the best design for the particular intersection. It's all about the context, and sometimes adjacent intersections affect what your decision is at a particular intersection. So you put that all into the hopper, and sometimes the roundabout comes out on top, and there's a lot of applications around here where it ought to come out on top. I imagine after a decade or two that it'll start to even out, but there's so few of them now, and there's so much potential to save lives and help pedestrians and so forth today, that I think we're going to see a flurry of roundabouts going in, and there'll be a learning curve in places where they have low familiarity with them. There'll be some lessons learned, but I think we'll learn pretty quickly, and we'll do a pretty good job, and you'll see a lot of them coming in the next 5-10 years.